Back to Windows, I can do a Windows scan as well. Now this is similar to an ACK scan, except that sometimes instead of detecting open ports as just being filtered or unfiltered, I can go back and actually look at the window size. Now Windows will report this TCP size, and so I can use this a lot of times to tell exactly what operating system they're running. Now Nmap is a tool that's used a lot. It's not just a Windows tool, it's used on Linux and Unix a lot. And a lot of the different switches or a lot of different scan options are available. In fact, I would have to say it's a good overall scanning tool to find a lot of information. You can do SYN maps, you can do SYN scans, FIN scans. Basically, you can do any kind of scan you want with Nmap. You can also specify whether or not you want to do a TCP ping or maybe a SYN ping or an ICMP. So all of these are available. You can also output the response from Nmap to either normal mode or you can output it to other formats. Now, in addition to running these different kinds of scans, sometimes you want to set the different timing options. In other words, maybe you don't just want to go ahead and just scan continually, because a lot of times now when I'm doing scanning, a lot of systems will pick up on the fact that I am doing scanning. So a lot of times I want to go ahead and set the timing options so that I can just do a quick scan and then maybe wait. And then maybe another scan and wait. Other times I may know that they don't have anything listening or they have no reporting, or maybe they're just simply not checking their logs. So I can simply go ahead and tell it run against everybody. IPsec scan is also a thing that I can do to scan different networks, and this tool is used to scan either a single IP address or a range of addresses looking for different ports that are running IPsec. I can also use another all-in-one tool called NetScan Tools Pro. Now with NetScan Tools Pro, I can basically run all kinds of tests. I can see who owns what IP address, I can try to resolve the names, I can do scans on the whole network band, I can probe for different services. It really is a multi-purpose all-in-one tool. As well as SuperScan. This is also another TCP port scanner, and this one will also do hostname resolution. Now floppy scan is a very dangerous tool, because what happens here is I actually have a mini Linux on a floppy and I boot up off of that floppy. What it does then is display the blue screen of death, but while it's showing that, it actually does a scan of the network by doing Nmap. It also has the capability for me to send the results by email to a remote server. Now a different kind of scanning is something called war dialing. Now it's not so common anymore, but there's still a lot of companies out there that use modems for dialing in. And what war dialing does is basically try to penetrate them by coming through the modem. In other words, I try to get a connection. Now a lot of times these ports or these modems are there for administrative purposes. For instance, maybe if the internet goes down, then I have a special line I can call and dial in to make a connection to my network. Well, if I know this, or if I suspect this, I can simply use different war dialers to put in a range of telephone numbers, and then what this will do is it will dial these numbers, and hopefully it'll find a modem and it'll wait for a modem to respond. Once that modem responds, then you know that they've got a modem there. So basically I try to go ahead and dial in, and once I get a dial-in connection, then from there I can go ahead and launch my connection. And again, normally this is going to be inside the firewall at this stage. I can do a THC scan. This is a type of war dialer that defines a range of phone numbers, and by using these different phone numbers, it'll go right down the line. Another tool I could use would be Phone Sweeper. Continuing on with our scanning tools, we also have PortScan Plus and Strobe. Now PortScan Plus is Windows based, but basically this lets me specify a range of IP addresses and a range of ports, and then go ahead and scan those IP addresses for those particular ports, and then it'll show me which ones are open. Now Strobe is basically for Unix-based systems. It is written in C and it runs on Unix, and it'll do a similar thing. It will scan all the open ports on the targeted host. It's not going to give me quite as much information, but it still will tell me what's there. Another tool you could use would be Blaster Scan. Now this is a TCP port scanner for Unix-based systems. It will ping the target host looking for somebody that's going to accept a connection. It will scan an entire subnet on a network. It'll take a look and see if they're allowing FTP anonymous access. It'll also look for CGI bugs or even POP3 or FTP different vulnerabilities. So this is called blaster scan.